So, first of all, on the closing side of the house, they didn't have any engagement towards the risky investment that coming from the shadow banking and from the private sector. And then from my previous speaker already said before, that the shadow banking is actually where the bank there is not regulated by the government, and it's too risky because the unclearness of this kind of bank. And then coming from where we're going to say that you want to sustain the BRI, of course the things that you need is the sustainable institution for you in order to support you in order to make this kind of things. And that kind of the burden that the other side of the house have to prove to you on their closing speech. And then actually, there are three things that I'm going to say now. The first one is why China should stop the BRI. The second one is how to maintain the export selling where we stop the BRI. And the third one is what the other foreign policy agenda that the China can do in order to solve this kind of problem. So, first of all, why China should stop the BRI. The first of all, like my previous speaker already said to you before, because of the actor of this kind of for this debate is actually the China, so we have to understand that the China is a fully communist party, which means that the China is always trying to reduce the poor people, and the government takes sides into the pure kind of the people. And there are still 30 million people under the poverty line, and the China interest is actually to uplifting these poor people into have the betterment. And then when this China applied the BRI, it means that it's not aligned with the communist ideology. Because of what? Because the BRI tax and receive the investors, and it's only upheld the rich people because only their people can enjoy the way, and they didn't take side to the poor people in the China. And then the second one is how to maintain the export selling when we stop the BRI. The opening side of the house, I believe that the only way for China to sell their product by using oil or by BRI. But we are going to prove to you another way to sell their product internationally, and we are going to say to you that the proposal coming from the other side of the house is not mutually exclusive. First of all, without the BRI, there are several things that the China can do in order for them to export their goods. The first of them is through the bilateral MOU or the agreements towards the other country, which means that China can make an agreement towards one country in order for them to sell the goods in that country. And second of all, is through the multinational MOU or agreement. So it means that the China can sell the country to some some multinational things, such as for the Asian, for the example. And then and this kind of things is really beneficial towards China rather than we apply the BRI, because of if we apply this kind of policy, then without the China, without necessity, makes all the infrastructure for them to sell their goods. And even if the profit coming from the alternative is lower than the profit coming from the BRI, the risk coming from the shadow banking is going to wane, and we didn't hurt the ideology of China country and lowering the people's trust towards this government. And then from the next one, is I'm going to say about what is the foreign policy or the policy agenda that China can do. And like for my first year speaker already said to you that so there's actually the other main policy agenda from the China is actually to seize the South China Sea, because we believe that in our status quo there are so many minerals and rich of fish and oil that are explored in that kind of things, and then we can seize the South China Sea through the lobbying to the Asian countries. And then we believe that the oil that exists in Southeast China, South China Sea, there are a lot of oil, and we in the status quo, the Middle East country, the Middle East is we believe that the Middle East declined the price of the oil because of they think that the only way to sell this kind of things. And the oil on the Middle East country is actually decreasing because of the war between the ISIS and the Syria. And we can utilize this momentum to explore the oil and sell the oil into the market. And the oil that we're going to sell is actually going to the price is going to be lower than the Middle East country that applied into the sell for internationally. And then the market that we're going to pursue is we're going to pursue the market that the Middle East country already there before, but because of the lack of the oil, and maybe for the price that not agree with this kind of Middle East country, we can take that country in order for us to sell our goods rather than applying this BRI, which really risky. And then, even if the UNCLOS reject the China for the seas of the Southeast China South China Sea, but they didn't have supervised this kind of area, and we believe that the China military can be there and the China ships can sail there too, and then by seize the South China Sea rather than applying this BRI, we believe that we can bargain with the area to give more. We can make this area more become useful because the Asian country, they need our protection, and we believe that they cannot defeat our military power, and we will help the Asian to explore the things that they didn't even explore before. So it's going to be hand in hand and going to be beneficial towards two things, rather than we are applying this kind of BRI, which is like what I want to emphasize again, that the money resource is really unclear and is not regulated by the government, which is really risky for this China in order for them to sustain this kind of policy until 2049. And because of that, we are proud to